We do have breaking news from the world of entertainment. We have received word that music legend Ozzy Osbourne has died. Osbourne.
It happened quietly, almost too quietly, for what it would become. In the sweltering summer of 2025, just 7 days before the world would lose Ozzy Osbourne forever, Jack Osbourne sat down for what should have been a routine podcast appearance. No one in that studio knew that his words, spoken so casually, would unravel a 23-year-old family secret the Osbournes had fought desperately to keep behind closed doors. Jack wasn't angry that day. He wasn't emotional or confrontational. He was simply honest, brutally, disarmingly honest. When the host asked him about his older sister Aimee, the mysterious Osbourne sibling who had famously refused to appear on their MTV reality show, Jack didn't deflect. He didn't sugarcoat anything. Instead, he said something that stopped listeners cold. "We're not close. We don't have a relationship." She'd tell you the exact same thing. There was no hesitation. No pain in his voice, just a calm acceptance that stunned everyone who heard it. For more than 2 decades, fans had wondered why Aimee Osbourne seemed to exist on the edges of the family. Always mentioned, never seen. Why Jack and Kelly seemed inseparable on camera. Yet Aimee remained a ghost. Why she walked away at 16 and never came back. And now, with Ozzy's death just days away, Jack finally said the quiet part out loud. Aimee Osbourne was not wronged. She was not rejected. She was not forgotten. She had chosen to disappear. And the Osbourne siblings had chosen to let her. This admission, this one simple truth, hit harder than any headline because it revealed something millions had long suspected. The Osbourne family was never whole. Not even in the beginning. Aimee Osbourne is the kind of figure every famous family has. The unseen one. The one who slips out of the spotlight before the cameras roll. But in the Osbourne family, her absence wasn't just noticeable, it was haunting. While Jack and Kelly became household names overnight, Aimee vanished at the exact moment fame came knocking. The world saw 2 Osbourne siblings on TV, but behind the scenes, there were always 3. And Jack's confession confirmed the uncomfortable truth. He barely knew the third one. Kelly once admitted the same thing on Armchair Expert. Aimee doesn't understand me. I don't understand her. We're just different. Different is an understatement. Aimee viewed herself as the protector of the family's dignity. Jack and Kelly, they were teenagers, riding a wave that turned them into international stars. Aimee wanted privacy. They wanted freedom. Aimee wanted control. They wanted chaos. Aimee wanted authenticity. They fell in love with the spectacle. These weren't just differences in preference. They were differences in worldview. Deep, unbridgeable, foundational. And Jack knew it. In his 2025 interview, he revealed something even more heartbreaking. He has wondered for years whether Aimee regrets her decision to walk away. But here's the twist. He has never asked her. Not once. Not in 23 years. The question sits between them. Heavy. Fragile, unanswered. And maybe it always will. To understand the wound that never healed, you have to go back to 2002. MTV wanted something wild, something no one had ever done before. A reality show. Inside the Osbourne home, Sharon saw a business opportunity. Ozzy saw a fun experiment. Jack and Kelly saw an adventure. But 16-year-old Aimee saw a nightmare. She was being asked to turn her home into a stage, her family into characters, her private life into entertainment, and she refused. Not politely. Not gently. During one interview years later, she admitted there were shouting matches, explosive fights over the show. She was the only one saying no. And eventually, she realized something devastating. Her no didn't matter, so she packed her bags and she walked out. Sharon later said it was one of the most heartbreaking moments of her life. She regretted it deeply. She wished she had protected Aimee more. But at the time, the family was swept up in something bigger than all of them, bigger than fame, bigger than their bonds, bigger than they could control. And Aimee wanted no part of it. What's more, she looked at the entire concept and saw it as cheap. She believed reality TV was low-hanging fruit, a shortcut to fame. She believed her siblings were taking the easy way out by writing the Osbourne name instead of building their own paths. To her, the show felt nepotistic, cheap, artistically empty. That perspective didn't just create distance. It created resentment, not hatred, not jealousy, but something subtler and more painful. A sense that they were living different lives on different planets. Jack and Kelly became famous. Aimee became the girl. The cameras blurred out. Literally, in the few times she accidentally appeared on camera, MTV editors blurred her face. The symbolism is impossible to ignore. Her own family show erased her identity. By choosing privacy, she also chose invisibility. From that moment on, Aimee's life and her siblings' lives split like two roads, running in opposite directions. Jack and Kelly embraced fame. They built careers around it. They participated in family projects. They leaned into the Osbourne brand. Aimee fled it. She changed her last name professionally. She built a music career from scratch. She hid from cameras, avoided interviews, and protected her anonymity fiercely. She became known mostly for not being known. And the more famous the Osbournes became, the further Aimee drifted away. Did she regret it? Jack still wonders. Does she wish she stayed? He doesn't know. Because after 23 years, they have never talked about it. Not once. Because how do you ask a stranger a question that personal? Sharon Osbourne has always been the indestructible matriarch of the family. Loud, fierce, unapologetic, and brutally honest. But when it comes to Aimee, Sharon carries a wound she rarely lets the world see. Behind the persona, behind the television cameras and talk show smiles, lies a mother who has lived with a quiet, unsettling heartbreak for more than 20 years. When Aimee left the family home in 2002, it wasn't just a teenage rebellion. It was a fracture, a tear in the fabric of the Osbourne household that Sharon has never fully forgiven herself for. On the talk, Sharon once broke down in tears, recalling the day Aimee walked out. Her voice trembled as she admitted Something she almost never admits. Regret. It was appalling what we did to her, she said. I regret every day that she left. Sharon has always been known for her strength, but Aimee is her soft spot. While she fiercely defended Kelly and Jack's choices to embrace fame, she also understood maybe too late that Aimee's decision to walk away wasn't rejection. It was self-preservation. And that is Sharon's painful contradiction. She built a family empire on exposure, on cameras following every meltdown and every moment of chaos. But in doing so, she created an environment her eldest daughter couldn't survive in. And Sharon has had to live with that truth silently for 2 decades. When Ozzy died, Sharon's heartbreak multiplied. She didn't just lose her husband. She lost the one man who always believed his children would eventually come back together. And now, as Sharon looks at her fractured family, she faces a reality she never wanted. She can bring the world together on camera, but she couldn't bring her own children together in real life. Kelly Osbourne has always lived life loudly. She has never been afraid to speak her mind, whether it's about fashion, fame, family, or her struggles with addiction and identity. But when it comes to Aimee, even Kelly's bold personality softens into something more complex. Despite the public perception that Kelly and Jack resent Aimee, the truth is far more delicate. Kelly once said, "We're just very different people. Not hostile. Not hateful, just fundamentally incompatible." But beneath those simple words lies something deeper, a strange mix of confusion, sadness, and maybe even guilt. Kelly grew up in the spotlight, discovering who she was under the glare of cameras and the scrutiny of the world. Aimee chose the opposite path. To Kelly, Aimee's choice often felt like rejection, not just of fame, but of them. And that's a wound Kelly doesn't talk about, not because she's angry, because she doesn't fully understand it. There are moments, though, when Kelly's facade cracks. When she watches old clips of a family show, when she sees her teenage self screaming at paparazzi or crying on camera, she wonders how different her life might have been if she had walked away, too. But that's the difference between her and Aimee. Kelly didn't want to disappear. Aimee needed to. And now, as adults, that distance has turned into an emotional continent. Kelly doesn't hate her sister. She just doesn't know her. And that in many ways is even sadder. Most people forget that Ozzy has another child from his first marriage, Louis Osbourne. While Sharon, Kelly, Jack, and even Aimee became part of the public story at one point or another, Louis lived an even quieter existence than Aimee. He wasn't on the show. He wasn't in interviews. He wasn't in the family brand. And yet, when Ozzy passed, Louis stood beside his siblings. Name printed on the official family statement. Unlike Aimee, Louis has always maintained a polite but distant relationship with the Osbourne media empire. He never sought fame. He never sought conflict. He just lived his life quietly, and Ozzy respected that. At the funeral, observers noted how Louis served almost as a bridge, standing between the siblings, offering a grounded presence. Louis and Aimee, the Two outsiders in their own family story. Shared a strange, unspoken connection. Both lived outside the circus. Both avoided the spotlight. Both built their own identities away from the Osbourne legacy. But while Aimee's absence became a mystery, Louis's was seen as normal. He wasn't judged. He wasn't questioned. No documentaries were made about why he disappeared, because he never disappeared. He just never stepped into the spotlight to begin with. And yet, in that funeral moment, Louis's presence was symbolic. He was a reminder that family doesn't always mean closeness. Sometimes it simply means roots, even if the branches grow in different directions. Ozzy Osbourne was many things. An icon, a pioneer, a troubled soul, a loving but complicated father. But the one thing he never wanted was distance between his children. To Ozzy, family was everything. Even when life was chaotic. Even when addiction and fame tore at them from every angle, he adored all his children. Even if his way of showing it wasn't always traditional. And while people saw the wild rocker on stage, his children saw someone quieter at home. Gentle, affectionate, deeply emotional. Before he died, Ozzy reportedly told friends that he hoped his children would look after each other when he was gone. But that wish was always complicated. Ozzy knew the wounds between Jack, Kelly, and Aimee were not small disagreements. They were decades-old fractures built on choices, values, worldviews, and mutual misunderstandings. Ozzy respected Aimee's desire for privacy. Even admired her for seeking her own identity away from the Osbourne circus. But a father's love doesn't follow logic. He wanted them to reconnect, even if he knew they wouldn't. And perhaps that is the saddest part of all. Ozzy died believing that maybe one day his children could sit in one room and feel like a family again. But life rarely works the way we hope. The cameras outside the Birmingham procession captured what the public expected. Tears, black clothing, a somber crowd, and global mourning for a legend. But what the cameras didn't capture was the quiet tension. The kind that only exists between people who share a past but not a present. Aimee kept to herself, standing slightly apart from Jack and Kelly. Not out of spite, but out of habit.